Hey folks, welcome to Road Hard Restorations. On this episode, we're getting this 318, this 1974 Plymouth Duster, up and running again. Okay, all these hoses are rotted and cracked and broken. All right, so I'm going through the fuel system here. This was on the line going to the sending unit. Had a plastic filter on here. It's actually got a crack all the way down the body of the filter. So obviously it was just sucking air. The whole garage smelled like gas fumes. It was just leaking. So that's out of here. The hose that's right here was actually cracked here, and sure that's no good. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through the whole line, make sure everything's clean and clear, replace all the rubber, and get this thing ready to fire up. Here's the original filter that came with the car here. Blow through it okay. Real easy. It says USA on it. Napa Gold, which I think is a Wix, if I'm not mistaken. Made USA. There's the arrow, making sure they put it in the right way. I'm actually going to put this back on, reuse that one. I'm also going to put one of these guys on there ahead of it. So this was actually pointing, it's got some gas in it. Yeah, I'll say that. Alright, so this was actually pointing like this, and it had the fuel filter on there, and then a sharp kink on the hose. So I'm going to go ahead and reposition it like so. I like using a nut driver on these as opposed to a screwdriver. Makes life a whole lot easier. There's a socket on a 1/4 inch drive handle. I'm wondering now if this is actually going to fit. What if they have it rotated for a reason? I see it's awfully close to the belt here. Looks like it's far enough though. Let's go ahead and bring this a little closer in though. It's interesting, this isn't even fuel hose. If you can read that on the camera. Oil cooler hose. Not the same thing. So if you want to be real anal about things, make all of your clamps facing the same direction. Get the pipe started on the pump where it's still loose. Move it around. And then I'm going to go ahead and feed this in here. We'll see how well everything lines up. When I pull this engine out, I'm going to go ahead and just make a whole new line, but this will be good for temporary for now. Just want to get it running. See how it runs, see if there's anything else I need to order for it. I need to rebuild the whole engine. Need to see if transmission shifts okay, goes through all the gears. No grinding, no weird, anything funky going on. I got some issues with the clutch linkage. So I've got a little bit too much fuel line here, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it right here. Cut off about 6 or 8 inches here. And then just use a little piece of hose to connect it here. There are a lot of vacuum hoses on this engine. A lot more than I'm used to dealing with on these old cars. Never had an old car this new before. Looks like an EGR valve. The vacuum line going to the distributor. Another vacuum line going I don't know where, unless there's 2 on the distributor. Don't know, haven't gotten that far back yet. There's loose and broken wires everywhere. Just looking at the wire here on the alternator, the insulation's all cracked. A bunch of tape on both of them. Get all those cleaned up. Got that where I want it. Put a little connector hose there. All right. Got my little box of short connector hoses. And you get enough of these little filters, and you get kind of a collection of these things. Normally, what I'll do is put a little flare on the end of the line so it doesn't blow apart. But we're not talking a whole lot of pressure here, and just got to hold long enough to get this thing down the road a few miles. Just turn around, come back, take it all apart again. So I'm not going to use that other filter for right now. The other one is on it. Flows just fine. So whatever reason they have, looks like regular nuts on the front, on studs, and on the back they're socket head screws. I don't think that's factory, but I don't know. Interesting. It's missing all of the connections here. It's being held on by the spring. And this is precariously wrapped around the hose clamp. Nice and black, full. And I'm not going to taste it. Ground cables, exceptionally long. I'll go ahead and shorten that, put a new end on it. Positive cable. I think it's going down there somewhere. What the heck is it doing? I heard it crank, so no, it does that much at least. Not sure what they got going on there, but it's a mess. We'll have to fix that. The coil terminal electrical taped on. I don't know what the hell they got going on here. Well, I know it ran, so I'm going to leave well enough alone for right now. I have a vacuum line looped around to itself. Another vacuum line going to this little dash pot here. There's the PCV valve. There's another vacuum line going to a canister with split ends on it. So what I'm going to do for right now is I'm going to pull this off, put a plug on it. There's another vacuum line. That one's going to the distributor. Okay. Okay, distributor's not loose. That's good. Coil's loose. Excel Super Stock High Performance. All right. About ready to fire up, I suppose. Just get one cap for that vacuum hose. Got a problem. I don't have any gas for the tank, but got some gas for the carb. I thought I had some gas. There we go. Let's put this guy on here. That thing's all bent out of shape. Let's see if she kicks over. I don't know if you could have seen that or not, but well, it's a wiring mess. I'm getting a bunch of sparks going on there. Number one repair right now is to fix this wiring mess. Saw some arcing down in this area right here. Looks like this connector right here, non-insulated, is arcing against the bolt here. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of clean up this mess. This is not cooperating. Oh, there you go, got it out. Does anybody tell me what the heck this thing is? Got a wire going to the choke, two gangly wires, one going to the harness, the other one going to the alternator. That's a mess, isn't it? Alright, now I can get a proper tool on there. There's the distributor wire going into this harness. It's all taped up. Lock that back there. A few splices to the coil wires. Quite a few. What the heck is going on? One, two. There's three wires on the positive, one wire on the negative. They got the main coil wire electrical taped on there somewhat. I don't know what's up with that. Let's get this snug so it's not flopping around. Okay, man, everything's just frayed at the connections. I need to find me a shop manual for this particular year model car. I don't know what the heck that thing is. It was just laying down there, tucked between the coil and the manifold. Alright, so this is just temporary. We're going down the road for a few miles before I take it all apart again. So just don't want anything getting caught up, burnt, arced, shorted out, or what, anything like that. So I'm just gonna temporarily get those up out of the way so it's not laying across the coil. I'm trying to keep all these wires kind of separated until I can redo all the insulation on all of them, because look at that, and it's almost completely broken into two. These things right here, unfortunately these wires are too big to fit in these stock retainers. I'll get in there. There. Trying to get them up off the manifold here. Normally I wouldn't do it that way, but like I said, this is just temporary. Now this thing had apparently an automatic in it for a while. There's a part of the bracket here for the kickdown, which obviously we don't use with the stick shift. Doesn't actually seem to run too bad. Not seeing any leaks. All right, let's fire it up again. It's already puking out of the overflow tube. All right, I'll have to rig up a bottle. I don't even know if there's a thermostat in there. Uh-oh. Found a leak. All right, as soon as I shut off the engine, the base gasket started leaking. That's an easy fix. Just gotta find a base gasket. All right, I got a new kit for the carburetor. I'm just gonna go ahead and change out the base gasket for now because it seems to be working okay. It's not leaking or anything. Hey folks, hope you enjoyed this episode of Road Hard Restorations. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe. On the next video, I'm gonna be going through the wiring, getting all the lights working, and fixing a few other issues with the car before we take it on a test drive. See you in the next one.